Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is B. Avery here for another episode of Just My Opinion. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And with this one right here, we are talking Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Full spoiler discussion. Yes, we are going to spoil this thing up, down, left, right, in, and out as if you've already seen the film. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I strongly suggest you turn the video off now. Just press pause, subscribe to my channel, go watch this film, come back, and then you can get all of this spoilery goodness. You have been warned. And of course, as you can see right here, it's pretty obvious. I have two guests with me, Mr. Eman with Eman's Movie Reviews and the Elliot with Movie Files. Gentlemen, how are y'all doing today?
Hey man, doing good, doing good. Talking some Shang-Chi and Legends of the Ten Rings, man. A lot of stuff to digest in this film. Dragons and Wongs and abominations and all that
Yeah,
stuff, man. A lot of stuff to
yeah,
break down, man. I'm excited to be here with you too.
yeah. Eman,
Thanks,
how you
thanks,
feeling,
thanks.
bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, man. And so, guys, this is again. Just want to warn you. This is going to be a spoiler-filled review. If you want to go check out my non-spoilery review, that is posted on my channel right now, so you can go check it out. But if you're fresh coming out of the theater Thursday evening, this video is up for you right here because I said I'm gonna upload this Thursday, September the 2nd at 6 p.m. right when the showing starts. And so, if you're one of those diehard movie-going fans, we got all the spoilers right here. Now, I want to let you know, I have not talked to these gentlemen about their impressions of the film, except for E-Man, because he did post a reaction video like straight out the theater, as did I. And so I that's the farthest I've gone as far as talking to E-Man about how he feels about it. And overall, I'm pretty sure you probably saw that video. So overall, he was pleased with the film. And I'll give my opinion in just a second. But other than that, I have no idea what his pros are, what his cons are. I haven't spoken to Elliot at all. I have no idea if he liked it, if he hated it. I know Elliot was looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I've
man.
seen other videos where he was saying, "Hey, man, I want a martial arts movie." You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man.
As I feel too. So he don't know how I feel. I don't know how he feels. And I'm excited to talk about it. It's so much to get into, and we're just going to do it. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, and you can go ahead. I said this in my my non-spoiler review, but my expectations for this Shang-Chi movie were through the roof. I love martial arts films. They are my number one favorite type of entertainment. Comic book adaptations are my second. So when you combine those two in one, of course, I'm gonna be super duper excited. I've said when this film was first announced a long time ago that Disney, Marvel, they have the money, they have the resources for this to be one of the possibly some of the best martial arts entertainment that we have. I'm comparing this to the Raid and the Raid Redemption, where Gary Evans made those films for like $3, $4, $5 million. That hand choreography is nice and tight. So there's no reason why, if you have an MCU production with 100 million, 150, $200 million production budget, that you cannot have something in the same vein, that you cannot hire those same type of people. So anyway, with all that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and give my general impressions, then go around the circle real quick. Overall, I did enjoy the film. I thought it was a good film. I even thought it was a great film. And there was a lot of things that I did like in the movie. One of those being the fighting. I don't want to lie to you. When they started fighting at the very beginning of the film with Tony Leung's character, the Wenwu, the Mandarin, or Shang-Chi's dad, when they was fighting in that mystical forest, and she was doing the Tai Chi, and he was doing all the with the 10 rings and stuff like that, I was smiling ear to ear. I was like, yes, okay, we're off to a great start. This is exactly what I'm in for. So overall, I did enjoy the film. However, I did not love the film. There were some things that still do not make sense to me. One of the reasons why I have these gentlemen here. And also, I got to let you know, I'm doing something different. Usually, I always either write and or film my own non-spoiler review first before I hear from anybody else, because I don't want to be influenced by any outside opinions. But this time I had to change it up. I was like, you know what? I don't. The first time I expressed myself on camera, I want to go full-blown spoilers. So I'm doing that quite different here. But I didn't love the film. I liked it. I did like the chemistry between Simu Liu, our titular character, and Awkwafina. I do want to see more from those characters. The cinematography was great, also the sound, all that good stuff. But there were some things with the plot, with the overall story, that I kind of just raises a few question marks over my head, and kind of rubs me the wrong way. Some of the things are annoying, and I found that some of the things in this movie, some of the plot points, some of the aspects I thought were completely pointless. And and when I was watching it, I was like, okay, I like this. But as the film progressed on, I was like, wait a minute, what was the point of that? That was kind of silly. And so I did like the film. I will go ahead and say this. This is easily, it's not in my top 10 MCU. I will have to sit and think about it, but I can definitely say it's in my top 15. And so, yeah, that's just kind of my general impressions of the movie. And Eman, I want to come to you next, my brother. What was, let us know what your expectations were and your general impressions of the film. And then we can get into this nitty gritty. I think I'm gonna start with the ending too, but go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, look, my expectations were not as high as either one of y'all's going into this, mainly because Shang-Chi is a very niche comic book character. I mean, you have to be a comic book fan to go know about the story of Shang-Chi and so on and so forth. I mean, really, the leading information known about him is that he's like one of the best hand-to-hand fighters in Marvel, period, right? Top 5. Like, that's all we know going in. So even for me, as a Marvel enthusiast, as a Marvel theorist, I'm like, I have no idea how his story or his character is going to impact the MCU. And because of that lack of knowledge, that lack of insight, I was like, man, okay, I'm an empty slate. Like, I had low expectations. The only thing I was hoping for this to at least accomplish, because this is the very bare minimum, was you got to land the fighting. The fighting has to be top notch. It cannot be, y'all cannot slack on this whatsoever. I do think that they accomplished that. We can talk about the choreography later, because I think, Brandon, you definitely want to get into that. But I didn't go into it with expectations of the raid, because well, we'll talk about that later, but I like what they did give us. I forget the name of the basically the hidden dragon, crouching tiger, hidden dragon type of style. I thought that was a beautiful type of way to do some storytelling. I liked the chemistry that Awkwafina and Simu had. I was shocked by the amount of drama that this had, this family drama, that was something that I didn't see coming. I liked the level of complexity that they gave to Wenwu, the main villain, the dad. I thought that, this was a pretty good story. I do have some issues with it. We will get into those as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you in the fact that, like, it is somewhere in my top 15. I think an argument could be made top 10, lower 10. But look, to me, for an origin story, this did what it had to do. I think it is going to surprise people. I think people should be pleased by it. But yes, it's not a perfect film by far. It definitely has some things that, could be better. But overall, my impression with it was solid movie. It did what it had to do. It checked off the boxes. It had the funny, it had the comedy, it had the drama, it had the action. So overall, yes, I was pleased.
Right on. And Elliot, before I come to you, my fault, I'm tripping. If you love what anybody has to say, please follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Our handles are on the screen. Also, these gentlemen information is down in the description box below if you want to look them up, or you can just head over to my channel tab and you have the whole crew, the whole fam right there for you to follow at your own leisure. Eman, second row over to the left. Elliot, Movie Files is right here in the middle. Coming back to you, Elliot, general impressions of the film. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Well, first, going into it, very excited. Dustin Daniel Crin, I'm a big fan of him. I think he's such a great character director, whether it be Short Term 12, whether it be Just Mercy a couple years ago. So I was really excited. I'm loving that Marvel is kind of, giving these smaller independent, Chloe Zhao, John Watts, the Russo brothers during the time, James Gunn during the time, small directors that are good at doing their little niche thing, whether it's horror or drama, and then they give them this big old sandbox to play in. So I was really excited to see what this independent director can do do to this kind of big blockbuster type of film. And like Eman said, I knew nothing of Shang-Chi besides being a martial arts expert, being one of the, like Eman said, top 3, top 5, you know, the Daredevils and the Iron Fist of the world, and Shang-Chi is right up there, if not number 1. So I knew that about him, but didn't know anything about the lore, the mythology, and what this character had to offer, and what this character has to offer to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I was really excited to see what it had to deliver. And I think for the most part, the film has a lot of great things about it, but not an overall great film for me. It's literally right outside my top 10 in the MCU. But as far as speaking of those great things, the action landed for me. I don't think it's anywhere near the Raid action. I do think, and I'm not the person that's like, you have to be rated R to really get gritty, but like the fact that they were rated R, you could kick someone in the face and break their neck and all that stuff. The impacts of like the Raid are just a little bit more different than what we can get in the MCU. But nonetheless, I thought the choreography was pretty well done. As Eman mentioned, the family drama was really compelling, and particularly Wenwu, to me, stole the film. No disrespect to Simu Liu. I thought that he sold the action. He sold the charisma. He didn't really sell me on the emotional beats, but he did sell me on being a believable action hero. But my man Wenwu was incredible in this film. And that's why I root for a good villain. They think they're heroes of their own story. He thought he was saving his wife. He was bringing up his legacy, and that was a big theme of the film: legacy and where you come from, all that stuff. So I really enjoyed his aspect, and I will get to my criticism a little bit later. But Marvel, phase 1 mistake, why kill the villain? But we'll leave that a little bit later. But you know, I did love that dynamic. I love how this might play into the greater MCU, especially when we get to those post-credit scenes. And are we talking Eternals? Are we talking Deviants? Are we talking Dormammu and Dark Forces and stuff of that nature? Moon Knight and the gods and all that stuff. So it kind of opens my mind to that. But overall, like I said, I had a fun time with it. But I thought that one particular character almost ruined the second half for me. And that's Trevor. And we'll talk about Trevor a little bit later. Marvel and their goofy ass kiddie Disney jokes that I thought went way too long. And I don't know why he was so heavy involved in this film, but he almost ruined it, as well as a couple of those other secondary cool looking characters, Razor Fist and Death Dealer. Those are some cool looking characters. They were kind of very underwhelming, but we'll get into all the minutia a little bit later. But
let's get
Trevor.
into it.
Well, I mean, sure. Let's go ahead and get into Trevor real quick if you don't want to. And I'll let you lead, Elliot, since you brought it up, because I'll just go ahead and say this real quick. Initially, when he popped up, I was like, okay, cool. I'm cool with this. Yeah. I'm actually glad he's in the movie. They acknowledged it. However, I felt they spent too damn long on his character. I was like, give him a cameo and exit stage left. He should have just stayed in the cage or the cave, excuse me, with his little pet Furby animal thing, which I don't know what that was. To be honest with you, bro, and I said I'm gonna let you go first. I'm just ranting. You next. So one of the things I when he stayed on the screen too long, I clocked out. Because there were 2 jokes that he made that I did not hear. Everybody in the theater was laughing, so everything's subjective. They liked it, but I was like, okay, well, I guess I missed it because they were just spending too much time with him on screen. I just kind of lost interest and started thinking about other stuff that didn't have to do with the movie, you know. And it was just goofy. It was long, and it was just a waste of time. I'm gonna save something I want to about how something with his character didn't make sense as far as the plot is concerned, but I'll save that. But Elliot, let us have it, man. How did you feel about Trevor Slattery, the fake Mandarin?
Like you, it made sense that he would appear in the film because obviously he slandered the name of the Mandarin, taking up his identity and all that stuff, and it makes sense that he would have some type of presence in the movie. Now, his presence in the movie was way, way, way too much for me. I think this is when Marvel thinks that they're being funny. It's the Guardians of the Galaxy Drax jokes, and it just goes on way too long, and him being an actor and the Planet of the Apes joke, and it's just like, why are we going this route? To me, it's just like cut all of Trevor out, have a little cameo, but replace him with like maybe they should have introduced like a friend of Shang-Chi as a kid, or maybe of a sister, and that could have been the funny. They had Aquafina. I don't know why they had to add another Aquafina in the film, but the Trevor stuff to me was so stupid, and it was such It was just stupid to me. I was not a fan of his inclusion in the story, as well as I thought that, and I love Wong, but I thought Wong was a fan service and didn't even really need to be in the film. An abomination that made no sense to me. But going back to Trevor, I just wish that they would have killed the Mandarin, or I should say Wenwu. I don't know why he didn't kill him. I don't know why they didn't just eliminate the person right away. But again, this is just Marvel saying, hey, we people love the character. And I think too, it's Ben Kingsley. He's one of the greatest actors of our time. So they probably want to, you know, they didn't want him on there just for one day. Like, let's get as much as we can out of Trevor. He's still alive, which means we're going to get more of him in the future, unfortunately. But yeah, man, the Trevor inclusion in this film to me was almost ruined the second half for me, because he was literally like for 20 minutes, it was him on the trip, him on the island. It's like, why Marvel? Why did you have to keep this guy in the movie? Why? He's almost equivalent to me to Kat Denning from
Dog World.
Or, that character is just kind of like, why are you along the journey? Like, we don't need you all in this film, but that's Marvel.
In all fairness, they did redeem her character to me in WandaVision. But I agree, I did not like her character in Dark World. Eman, my brother, Trevor, how you feeling?
I'm about to echo all of that. Listen, I 110% agree with the notion that because of his status and because Marvel, like the people in Marvel, are fans of Sir Ben Kingsley, they were kind of like, oh no, we can't just make him a quick cameo. We got to run with this, right? I mean, I was sitting in on the virtual press conference for Shang-Chi. And one of the stories that came up was the fact that Kevin Feige personally went to Sir Ben Kingsley's house to sell him on the idea for Iron Man 3 to be that villain. So this is something that, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like it's one of those bro moves, you know, like, bro, I got a movie coming out. I need you, you know? And it was just like, his character was so unnecessary. It was great for the initial impact to be like, hey, we're acknowledging we messed up in the past. We're fixing a couple things. We're connecting the dots from the Marvel one shot, because keep in mind, Marvel thought they was being cute with the whole like Mandarin thing in Iron Man 3. They thought they was being cute until they caught that backlash from fans. When they caught that backlash, it was like, hey, jump on that one shot, fix this, and we'll just say we was just playing. And that was fine. Okay, that's fine. Ain't nobody really watched the one shot, but that's fine. And in this movie, it continues to kind of repair that acknowledgement. Again, I'm cool with it. But the second he started being like, oh, I'm the only one that can translate for this creature, I'm like, so you got to come with us, like. And then he giving us all these stories about his mama and acting. I'm like, what? Bro, why are you still here? When it was the final battle and they actually showed that scene where he was pretending to be dead, I was like,
the MCU comedy.
Cut this. That right there should have been a bonus scene in the Disney Plus section, because that's all that should have been. It should have been like, yo, stop it. And I'm glad that y'all bring this up, because this is, again, what I talk about with comedy. It's not a problem to be funny. It's a problem when you have bad timing. And timing can also include not just when it shows up, but how long it is put into this. I'm sitting here like, yo, we in the middle of a battle. People are dying and things are getting real thick. And now you want to cut to a scene with him pretending to die and stuff it disrupts the tension. It disrupts the suspense. It disrupts the sense of urgency that's going on that y'all built up.
Right.
What, a cheap laugh? Like, you got all the time in the world to make us laugh. You did in the beginning with Simu and Aquafina. I was like, yo, I love that little chemistry. You got that towards the end when all that stuff was happening, you know, when it was resolved. But like in the middle of a battle, that ain't the time where I want to really laugh. I want to be like, oh, snaps. Like, are y'all gonna make it? Is everybody gonna live? Like, what's gonna happen? And so yeah, they milked his character way too much. And it's funny because the initial knock that I had was the fact that and this is actually a bigger knock against the entire movie, is the marketing. I was really upset with the marketing, because just recently they already announced, oh, by the way, Sir Ben Kingsley is going to be in the movie. And I'm like, damn, man. Like, because going into the screener,
I missed that,
going into the screener, I didn't know that. And I was like, yo, this is a dope, pleasant surprise. And I'm like, y'all just took that away from the whole audience. But the other big spoiler, I think, at least in Marvel's trailers, why did you show us the Great Protector, the big dragon? Because to me, I'm like, the moment Simu hit the water, I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen now, because I've seen it in the trailer. But like, if you had just never shown that, I think a lot of people would have been like, yo, what is that? Where did that big monster come from? What, but I felt like that we were kind of robbed from that. But yes, Trevor was too much. I did not appreciate a lot of the trailers just showing all that stuff off, and it dinged my experience a little bit.
It definitely dinged mine. You'll never see me coming. Like
Right.
that, I don't know why he had him. So he, to me, and this is another, just to go with Trevor again, he took away from what I thought was another kind of forgotten plot. The beef between Shang-Chi and his sister.
Yeah.
They had you left me, you abandoned me, and that plot was kind of thickened within the first half. Then slowly she became a background actor. She became like a background character. They really didn't address. Obviously, we got the post-credit scene with her and being the villain, whatever, for future films, whatever. But I felt like Trevor took away from that dynamic that was really interesting. Her dynamic between her and her dad. They never had a conversation about why do you, my mom, you look at me, but Trevor took away all of that to me. So I blame Trevor for a lot of the lack of character development within that second and third act because he was a punchline.
Gotcha. And we're gonna come back to that because I do have some things I want to address with her as well. But just staying on Trevor real quick, one of the things that just didn't make sense to me is with his little Furby creature, he had the golden map to get to the secret realm, the lost forest or whatever.
Yeah.
My thing is Wenwu, the Mandarin, Shang-Chi's dad, he's going on this long quest to get the pendants from his children. He gets the pendants, put it in the wall, it spits out the water and does the map and all that. But you could have just used the Furby creature the whole time. Am I missing something?
I don't think he knew about the creature.
I think they said that he took the creature as a gift. He went to I thought that Trevor said that he kept the creature as like a prize or whatever. But that doesn't make any sense either, because like to Brandon's point, if you have this creature that has come from the land, wouldn't you just use the creature to
unless he's the only one that can interpret for it?
Which doesn't.
That's what I was thinking.
I think Trevor was like, "Oh, y'all can see him too." I thought I was. Like I thought I was tripping.
I that bothered me. I was trying to like make excuses for the film. Like, okay, maybe the Mandarin didn't, or Wenwu didn't know that the creature was there. But then, like you said, Elliot, he took the creature back, and so I was like, maybe I missed something. But I would just kind of rub the wrong way on why y'all couldn't use the creature, but you want to go and murder, potentially murder your son, which we're definitely gonna be talking about that. But there's another thing on Trevor real quick is when they was going through the moving forest, and he was like, you got to stay in the pocket, you got to stay in the pocket, you got to stay in the pocket. They were one car deep. However, when Wenwu was coming through with his crew, it was like at least 10 or 15 cars. So I'm assuming the pocket just got bigger. Like, I don't know. Like, how did it go? How did it expand from the size of one car to the size, of 10 to 15 cars? I was thinking maybe he expanded it because he had the 10 rings or something like that. But it was just something that I was kind of scratching my head as I was watching this as they came out. That didn't really, add up to me. I don't know if y'all got some
too deep on that.
Okay.
Because I'm just saying, all they're going to say is magic.
Cool, magic. Now,
when in doubt, magic.
Yeah, right. Now, Elliot, you brought up a point that I want to talk about just now as well. That's with Wong and the Abomination. I do agree with you 100%. It was 100% pointless. Now, Benedict Wong, is that his real name? Benedict? Is that his real name? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I understand that as soon as you heard this movie was announced, you're going to campaign and do what you got to do to get a seat in the movie. If I was you, my brother, I would be doing the same thing. Duh. I have no quarrels with that at all. However, it has to be a seamless transition. And after watching the film, it was just kind of forced in because they popped in the movie. They had their fight. And when we first see them fighting, I didn't know that they was cool. I didn't know that they was homeboys or whatever. But then as soon as the fight is over with, they open the portal and it's like, all right, nice training session or whatever. And they go back. I'm like, what is this? Now, I will say it was clean. It was nice. I like when people are fighting and they use common sense. They use their abilities and they're like, well, what's the best way that I can use this? So him Abomination punching and him using a portal and to make the fist come back and punch himself, I thought that was genius. I was very impressed by that. I was like, oh, snap. Okay, y'all, I see what y'all doing here. That is clever. That is so clever. But other than that, it was just completely pointless. And one more thing before I pass it on is I'm glad that they have the comic. It went from this right here to more of the comic book origin. And that just makes perfect sense to me to say that, okay, his appearance evolved over time, because when he first got the abomination powers of the Hulk blood, I mean, he was in his infancy, and it's been years, and so he just kind of changed to this. So I'm fine with that. But yeah, I just thought the Wong stuff and abomination was pointless. So Eman, how you feeling about all that?
I mean, first of all, I was mad that they even showed it in the trailers. Again, why are you showing me things that are supposed to be a surprise in the movie? Like, if it's not a surprise in the movie, don't show it to. Then that's one thing. But if it's meant to be a surprise, don't show it to us in the trailers. Imagine how much the word of mouth that would have happened if people was like, "Yo, abomination and Wong," whatever. That would have been something really cool. But like going in, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, okay, going into it, I already know they're here. Yeah. So the only other thing that you can really entertain me with is that cool move with the teleport, with the portals or whatever. I did enjoy that. But the whole idea of like them being kind of buddy chummy and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I guess y'all gonna explain this later. Yeah. I'm hoping so, because right now it doesn't make sense and I don't care. Like that, yeah. So it didn't do very much for me.
Elliot?
Yeah, no, the moment of seeing it in a trailer felt more entertaining than actually seeing it in the film, because it made no sense as far as the connection to the film. And again, I know Marvel thinks of it as like a little Easter egg. When we lead up to the scene, there's a extremist soldier fighting someone in the cage. There's, I think, a Black Widow fighting. So like little Easter eggs, and of course we get the big one with Wong. But again, just looking at it from an MCU standpoint, I thought Abomination was kept in captive with General Ross. I thought, we know he's going to be coming back in She-Hulk, but it's like, why are him and Wong buddy? Has Wong just been doing this when Doctor Strange was blipped? Again, I was just thinking in my head, like, why would this make sense? But again, other thing I could think of is just like silly fan service. And Wong, and going back to Wong in general, I think this was Marvel's kind of like way of, what did Sam Jackson say a couple years ago? The one black film that he could have been in, Black Panther, they didn't even give him a call. So I think this was like Marvel saying, hey, we got this all Asian cast. We got an Asian character. Let's get them in the mix, versus like actually being important to the film. So I think that was kind of like their kind of like, again, replacing Trevor and trying to make him give something more justification. I think that was the same thing with Wong. Like, we got to put an Asian actor in here and let's have this random fight that makes no sense whatsoever. But
no sense.
Nothing. I mean, luckily, they found a better connection for Wong in the post-credit scene.
Definitely.
Like towards the end.
Yeah.
But like all that stuff in the beginning, I was like, y'all could have taken that out.
Yeah.
Like,
Now
I
think I missed something, E-Man. I think you have the like that little Furby creature that I was talking about. The name of it.
What is it? A Hundun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just something, they didn't just pull that out of nowhere. Like a lot of the creatures that they showed in the movie do have, some Asian mythology behind. I mean, we saw the Nine Tails, as well. And I don't know the name of the others, but I just saw that and I was like, oh, like it's actually a real thing in Chinese folklore. Okay, cool.
I had no idea. So thank you. So guys, that is Hundun, Hundun over at Wikipedia, and that's how the little creature looks. I thought that's how
Morris. Yeah, they gave me Morris, right? Yeah.
Nice. Well, how you doing, Morris? How you doing? Now, while it seems like we just hated the film because we talking about all the bad, let's talk about something real quick, because I was just gonna go diving into this ending real quick, but let's talk about something that I guess we liked. I think it's safe to say is that Shang-Chi himself. The titular character. I liked him a lot. I think it's perfect casting. I didn't know anything about the guy before this. I know he comes from Kim's Convenience, but I keep hearing that, and I'm glad that he tweeted Marvel and he spoke this into existence. But I really liked him in this role. He just sold the part for me. I mean, he looks good. He had the physicality down. I felt sorry for him, when he was beefing with his dad and just like, I'm not who you want me to be and stuff like that. I kind of felt for him and just like, okay, this is just a nice guy. I liked everything about his story, the training, even when he was a young child, all of that. So I really did. And I mean, I love martial arts, but I'm not like a Shang-Chi expert. I don't know everything about the comics and stuff like that, but I want to learn, you know. But he was cool, man. You know, so Elliot, how did you feel about him? You know,
yeah, I mean, Simu Liu, again, I this is my first time being exposed to him. I heard nothing but great things about his comedic timing with Kim's Convenience. And I know another thing that really sold me on him was, and this kind of ties into like, you know, the Tom Holland casting of Spider-Man, someone that has that athleticism. And I know he's a stunt man. So that was something, if you're going to have someone that's really keyed into the martial arts, we don't want no, you know, a double coming in every time he's fighting. He's actually doing a lot of his own stunts and a lot of the fight choreography, which, you know, I appreciate. You know, that's one of the reasons I love the Raid film, because we're seeing, you know, Ecos Wise and all those guys actually doing their own fights, which really sells me on the action. So I thought that he sold me on all that aspect, the charm, the charisma, the chemistry with him. And Aquafina was fantastic. You know, my only critique on him was I never felt the emotional resonance from the character. The older version of him, I felt the kid, the younger version, I felt that conflict in his younger self and him looking up to his dad and being a teenager, being on the verge of being an assassin. But the more emotional beats as the film went on from Simu Liu, that was like the only critique I had. I never felt that moment between like a T'Challa and T'Chaka when they're in the ancestral plane and he's talking to his dad and really having that moment. I never felt that moment in this film when he's talking to his dad. You want me to be the killer, the assassin? This is what you want? I didn't feel that. Like I did, and again, obviously Chadwick Boseman, much more seasoned actor and things of that nature, but I just never felt that connection between the older version of Shang-Chi and his father, and the emotional beast didn't really hit. But outside of that little critique, I thought he was fantastic in the role.
Eman.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think he has all the right stuff to be a leading man, especially in you know, this type of picture, right? You know, so I totally hear what Elliot is talking about, though, about like not seeing so much of the emotional beats. I mean, I think also for me, I was kind of looking at the cultural dynamics that were going on. Just because, you know, I mean, as I am a child of 2 immigrants, so one thing that I was able to do was relate to some of the things that they were talking about, and I didn't always see the emotional connection with him and his father being direct. Like, it's there, but it's also a conflict of tradition, right? Like the mere idea of running away to the West is a problematic issue within the Asian culture. Like you're not embracing your culture, you're not embracing your legacy, you're changing your name, you know, to an English name rather than your name that carries power and legacy and heritage, you know. So I was looking at him dealing with that more so than like a direct connection with his father. Not to mention he also had that shame in leaving his sister behind, right? So I thought he was able to deliver in that aspect in terms of like, yeah, I don't really like my pops or nothing, but at the same time, I am kind of bogus for ditching everybody, you know? So it's a weird conflict. And I do think that if you are from a different culture, I think if you have that immigrant experience, you might resonate with that a little bit more. And of course, obviously it varies from culture to culture. But as far as Simu, yes, I totally appreciated the fact that he was able to do his own stunts. You know, I love the fact that he can be that physical character, you know, that the physical actor that the character needs to be. So yeah, that to me was definitely good. And I love this comedic timing. Like his wittiness fits Marvel perfectly. And I would strongly recommend to watch Kim's Convenience. I wouldn't say it's like the best show ever, none like that, but it's a dope show to have in the background. Like if you're in between shows, you need something to kind of, you know, I'm eating lunch, I gotta just watch something to let pass the time. Kim's Convenience is definitely there. And you actually see a lot of similarities that we see in Shang-Chi from that show as well. So I really like what he brought to the table, and I'm excited to see what else he does in the future.
Right on. Okay, I can dig it. I can dig it. Before I get to the fighting, there's just one character that I want to talk about as well that we briefly mentioned, because it has to do with the 10 rings and all that stuff. That's this gentleman right here that you know, the father himself, Shang-Chi, not Shang-Chi, Wenwu. Now, what did y'all think about this his overall story and where the 10 rings came from? First of all, I want to say I loved everything that they did with the effects of the Ten Rings. Shang-Chi, like I said, is not a character that I'm like an expert on, and I know that the Ten Rings in the comics are on the fingers.
Yeah.
So I'm really not tripping, that it was adapted to 10 rings on the wrist. It kind of reminds me of the Hung Gar kung fu style, where a bunch of punching up and down. Gordon Liu, I don't know if y'all know who that. Well, I think y'all know who Gordon Liu is. He has a lot of Shaw Brothers films like that. So I'm cool with that, and I love this. And just this whole scene right here. I think Elliot, you said that he stole the show for you.
Yeah.
He was one of the strong points in the movie. I don't think I had any complaints about his character, except for his motivation towards the end of the film. But as far as like just him hundreds of thousands of years ago, him doing the charge on that base and him flinging the rings like this with the force field, and he's impenetrable to all the arrows, and like he's able to fling it out and make it hard and soft like a rope with a dart on the end, and he's shooting them like this, like they're projectiles, and bringing them back, and that was dope as hell. And so I like the way that looked. I like the lore. I like the world building. I like just how stern he was when he was trying to train his son. So unapologetic in this scene right here. I mean, I don't blame him. When he found out that his woman died or whatever, and that scene was kind of iffy to me. But when he found out that Eman's face, when he found out what went down, and he took his son in there, man, and he broke that table in half, I was like, God, dog, this dude here is something serious. You know what I'm saying? So I liked all that. I have to say, other than his motivation at one point in the film, I thought this was a hella nice or whatever. So I'm gonna pass it to Eman. How did you feel about Wenwu? And also, you got to tell me what that shoulder shrug was for.
You don't even want to know. You don't even want to know. No, but no, he definitely. I mean, you're talking about top tier quality actor. You know, with Tony Leung, right? Like this dude was. You knew the moment that they cast him, he was about to bring it, right? And there was no question about it. So he was absolutely one of the most complex villains, and I actually really appreciated what they did with his character, right? Because you have to think about it. This is a guy that was driven by power, for thousands of years, thousands of years, and then all of a sudden, out of all them years, I was like, yo, out of all them times, you ain't never had a wife, you ain't never had no kids, you ain't nothing, nobody.
I didn't even think of that.
Nothing. But then the first time a woman caught his eye, he's in love. And somebody that was on his level at that. So to me, the motivations didn't feel as cheap once I started putting it in perspective. Like, okay, you thousands of years old or whatever, and somebody finally got your heart. We all know what it's like to be in love for the first time. You get the puppy dog eyes and everything. It makes you do some crazy things. And my man was doing some crazy things, and he didn't care because it was all about love. So I went with it. I liked it. The style of fighting that they do. What is it? Is it wushu fighting?
I want to say more Tai Chi, but
no, it's the dance. I know what you're talking about, but like the style. I want to say it's wushu
right.
fighting. But it's the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style. I thought it was so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Like, and then when you see Tony in here and you see how he looks at her, like he comes in like, oh no, we about to throw these hands. He's like, hey, I like your hands. Like just that shift. That shift really got me. I was just like, man, and the whole thing, not a word was spoken. And I was like, that's acting, that is beautiful. And that's what we need to see, especially with the choreography and everything. So I thought he brought it. I believed him where he actually loves his family. He actually loves his children. He has obviously jacked up way of going about it. It's actually no different than Thanos. Thanos does love his children. He just happens to torture them and upgrade them with cybernetics, along the way. So, look, everybody got daddy issues in Marvel, but let's just put it like that. But I really, really thoroughly enjoyed his character. And no, I'm not a huge fan of them killing him off. I just didn't think they had to. I didn't think they had to. I mean, I get it. You want, in some way, shape, or form, I guess you need to give, Shang-Chi the rings and stuff. But I'm like, he kind of took them rings too. So like, it could have just been like, oh, you're worthy. Okay, you got him. And then just move on from there. But, other than that, Tony he killed it. He killed it.
Elliot, before I pass to you, I'm gonna pick your brain, man. You got to tell me how you felt about his woman dying in that scene. I want to know.
Wait, when his wife died?
Yeah, Shang-Chi's mom, his wife. The people came. How did you? And Elliot, I want to hear from you too on that too, and also Wenwu. But go ahead, Eman.
I felt robbed because I'm sitting here like, his mom ain't no joke. Could we see that Kill Bill moment? Like, she could have shot. Give me that instead of the whole Trevor crap. Give me that. I want to see her go straight Kill Bill and knock everybody out, and then die in a tragic way or something like that. Like, have the kids see it and all this. Like, you had such a beautiful moment to just show how bad the mom was, but
that's what I'm saying, bro. We
missed it. So I just felt robbed. I felt
drives me up a wall for her to be able to compete with him,
right?
Beat him with the rings. That means that she's damn near grandmaster level martial arts. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but they had powers or whatever.
Yeah, she wasn't in her native land, so her powers. She abandoned her powers like Wenwu did. Yeah, so she was
granted. Okay,
but she's still dope. She's still dope.
Good point. She still should have been able to whoop, unless each of them has some automatic weapons or some or AR-15s or something. And this was a long time ago. I think y'all get my point. Y'all watching out there as well. She still should have been able to whoop some ass. Even if she died, have her go out like a G. Let us see that. If it was 15 dudes, let's see her whoop 12 or 13 of them.
Yeah.
And just wow, and then she slips up and one of them, gets the jump on her or something like that. You said it perfect, bro. We felt robbed, and so I was kind of like rolling my eyes on that, man, because martial arts, that's a deep ass rabbit hole, man, and there's just so many levels of achievement that you can hit. And I know you can't fit everything in one film, but I think it was just a missed opportunity. Elliot, how are you feeling about that particular scene, and also just Wenwu in general, about him and the relationship with Simu Liu and or Shang-Chi and the world building, all that? How you feeling?
Yeah, the scene I would have loved to have seen it, even more so in regards to, as you mentioned, I believe it was in the late 90s when that particular timeline was going on. If she would have, because she did take out the majority of the men. We see most of them waste. Obviously the main boss got away or whatever, but she took out the majority of them. But I would have probably liked it more if, sacrificially speaking, if they had a gun and they were about to shoot one of the kids. Even though I know she said the kids were off limits, but maybe one of the goons was like, forget this, you took out all these other people. Let me just take out your rest of your family. And she would have stepped in front of the bullet or something like that, and then that's where Tony could have came in and wiped the one guy out. But yeah, I just feel like it was a missed opportunity to kind of show us how badass she was, even without her powers, that she can take out 15, 20 men. So it was a little bit of a short change in that sense. But in regards to that relationship between her and her love of the life with Wenwu, that was so great to me, just seeing them interact for the very first time, because as you guys have mentioned, thousands upon years, and that was my only gripe with Wenwu is not the acting, but the 10 rings, the legend of the 10 rings. I really still don't know where they come from, what the origins of it. How did they get, how did his family get a hold of the 10 rings? I guess that's for future stories to find out the origins of it. But that was the one thing I missed about it. But either taking that away, seeing him finally get, he's been a conqueror for thousands of years, and he finally meets someone that actually defeats him, that hands him his own ass and kind of beats him. And I think that's what attracted him to her. Just like, wow, I finally met my match. And that's when I think he, fell in love and all that. And same with her. She was willing to abandon her land and her people just to, create her own family. And again, this speaks again to legacy and family and heritage and name and all that stuff. They were both willing to put down her magical, mythical powers. He put down the 10 rings and his mob-like mentality to have his own family. And obviously, I think that was like the heart of the story. he ultimately, even though it was just wicked things talking to him in his head, he wanted to get his wife back because all these years he doesn't feel like he can be that dad without the mom being there to have this really true family dynamic, because he doesn't know how to be a dad. And that she softened him up. She brought that element out of him for all these years. He's been known to be a conqueror, that he could actually be a dad, but he wanted that the mom, dad, and the family ultimately come together. So that was kind of his motivation there. But ultimately, again, I thought that, Tony was incredible in the role. Again, this is a Marvel phase 1 disappointment and killing off the villain. Again, we know low-key there's a variant version of him out there somewhere, so who knows? And the soul sucking, I don't know, maybe they can revive him in the future, but I thought that was a mistake to kill him off. But nonetheless, I thought the performance was incredible. I thought he was the best character, the most fleshed out character in my opinion, and I thought that he nailed it in the role.
Right on. This just looks badass to me too. Kind of giving me like some
combat, baby,
or Genghis Khan vibes and stuff, like the best conqueror. Now let's move over to more of a controversial character. Now me myself, I am able to separate how I feel about an actress's performance in the movie opposed to how I feel about them outside of the movie. Because I can separate Cynthia Erivo. I do that all the time, but I like the chemistry that these two characters had in the film, and that is Simulu and Awkwafina. One of the things I liked about her character in the movie, keyword in the movie, is we was learning about this world through her eyes. I was able to put myself in her shoes, and I found myself asking the same questions she was asking at the exact same time. Of course, all films do that, but some do it better than others. But when she's like, bro, what's going on? Who are you? I understand that you got your secret. You don't want to put all your personal business out there, but I've been rocking with you for 10 years. This dude just show up and try to slice the bus in half. What the F? You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, ask them questions, and he was like, I gotta go. And she's like, look, I want to go with you. And just their whole interaction between the whole movie, I did like it. I think she did a fine job in the role. And, I wouldn't mind, her coming back. Before I say anything else, Eman, how'd you feel about Awkwafina rolling?
I kind of wish that we had gotten just a couple flashback scenes of them as kids, so that way we could understand why she's so shocked at like just him all of a sudden, like when they were talking about in high school and he was getting beat up or whatever. Like, I think that would have been a dope flashback, so that way, as we the audience already seen this dude be a trained killer at a young age, it would have been like, wait a minute, he was hiding his abilities back then, and then now we can understand why she was so shocked. So again, I think they kind of that was a bit of a short they took a shortcut with that by just kind of verbally saying it. I think they could have just shown us a little bit more of that, just quick little 30 seconds or whatever, just almost anything to replace that Trevor scene. You could have put so many other things in there to enhance this movie. But I liked Awkwafina. I liked her character. Honestly, I felt it was very comfortable for her. I don't think she had to stretch in this role at all. It was just like, yo, just be yourself and we're gonna change your name. And that was it. Which is fine, it is what it is, it works.
You said be yourself, but go ahead. It's funny you said be yourself. I'm gonna comment on that later, but go ahead. Okay. You said the only knock. The only knock I gave her is I did not like what they did with her character towards the end, where like all of a sudden she's just a natural.
She's Hawkeye.
With archery. Like she's Hawkeye. I'm sitting there like, I cannot wait to make the meme, because I will make the meme. Like she just comes off and she's just shooting. She's like, oh, I got this in like 2 tries.
Right.
And I know I'm gonna have Hawkeye out there like, am I a joke to you? Right. Like, are you serious? No, like I've been trained my whole life. Like, what? That part, I thought it was cheap. I thought it was dumb. They literally could have just added, you know what? Man, your great grandmama came from here. Right. There's a little magic in your name. By the way, here's a little stardust of Taolo magic or something, and now you get it's gonna unlock your hidden potential. They could have told us anything.
That would have been worse.
I'm just saying, you could have told me anything rather than Dog, have you ever done archery? It's not easy. People can't even string the bow,
Right.
can't pull that sucker and get like perfect accuracy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not easy.
In the middle of battle, too.
In the middle of battle. I'm like, yo, I get the nerves. I get all that. Just sprinkle some magic or something in there, because y'all gonna have to explain to me how all of a sudden she's just able to do this out of nowhere, and she ain't never touched a bow in her life.
It's magic.
Something. Just tell me it's her lineage. Tell me it's always been in you. Something.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
I got you, man. Before I come to you, Elliot, I just got to say, one, I do like that the elder that was teaching her when she was first finna walk up, he was like, you're not ready or you're not prepared. I'm glad that he checked her right there. I'm like, yes, you are not prepared for this, but you know, she came to save the day later on. Yeah. But I mean, like, I just want to address this. Some people like cancel the movie because, you know, like I'm not a fan of Awkwafina because of like the whole black scent thing. You know, that's always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And so I know a couple of people wanted me to address that, and I will, but I'm not gonna cancel the whole movie for it. I mean, I'm not a fan of hers for that, but I still want to admit that I did like her in the role. You know, I think that, you know, she did a decent job. It wasn't a stretch like Eman said, but you know, I chuckled at a few of her jokes and stuff.
It's the Mary Sue effect. This is what Mary Suing is you just give this character inexplicably high abilities that make no sense, and it just happens to work for the story. It's whack. It's whack. They could have made it more authentic. That's all.
No, I mean, they just Raya and the Last Dragon. You know, she took all that magical stuff from that film and brought it in this one. But it was just so, like Eman said, they literally had Michelle Yeoh in the film, and she could have saved her nephew. But they gave it to Awkwafina to continue her storylines in the rest of this Marvel Cinematic Universe. But yeah, as far as the Katy character, you know, it was there is a scene I would have liked, going back to Eman said, it would have been so perfect because number one, it didn't make any sense to me that this, you know, 14-year-old, yes, he's an assassin, came from, you know, Asia to America. Who has he been living with? How he's been defending for himself? If they would have had a scene where Katy, he was in the streets trying to get some food and he's, you know, stole some food and she helped him out and they brought him into the family, and that's how they made sense. That would have made more sense to me in regards to their connection. He was like gonna kill the person for stealing the food, but then she stepped in and intervened, and that's where he kind of put his secrets aside. But again, we're just like assuming that Sean has been on this, you know, on America for 10 years and been just figuring things out. But Katy was fine. She wasn't bad. She wasn't great. She was just a standard number two. She's the Bucky to the story. She's the Sam Wilson of a sort. She's the Jane Foster. She's just a secondary character that gives us some levity. Like Brandon said, she gives us a little bit of insight kind of going into this world, but she didn't neither make or break the film for me. She was just a standard kind of Marvel secondary character that brings us to laughs.
Right on.
You know, like as you were saying that, I'm sitting here thinking like we missed some character development for Simu's character too, for Shang-Chi, because I'm sitting here like we knew that he was a straight up assassin. And yeah, when he first came to America, why did he come? He came because he didn't want to kill, or maybe he did end up killing. He just didn't want to live that life. And I'm like, yo, that's a lot of personal character defining trauma that we did not get a chance to nail down to really help define, like, wait, why did he put his killer assassin skills away for 10 years? 10 years. That's, you know, that's like saying like, yo, we're not going to show Batman as a kid and having his parents get shot. Like, that's literally what made him.
That was literally, so when I mentioned Simu Liu, the emotional beat, that was what I forgot to mention. When he's sitting on that stone talking about that, he did kill that guy. He killed the guy that killed his mom. That scene should have been a lot longer than that because we literally he killed someone and he's been living with this for the last 10 years, but we gotta go to battle. So like I wanted to explore that more, and I didn't feel like he sold me on that moment of being like, I killed someone who did kill my mom, but I have blood on my hands, and they never really addressed that aspect of the character, which I thought was a little bit left off.
That's that's
the cutting room floor.
Good point, gentlemen.
That's such a good point. Yeah, because that's a missed opportunity too.
Yeah, real good point. I just want to touch on her real quick. There was two characters I thought acting in the MCU has never been a problem for me. It's always been up to par, you know, to great. But two characters in the movie, the acting kind of sucked. That's the sister. It just wasn't good to me. I didn't really get anything from her. I didn't really care for her character at all, to be honest with you. You know, and the acting was just kind of bad. I don't know how y'all feel. Ella, you agree, disagree?
the fighting sequences were cool, but she was a pretty flat character. She was almost kind of forgotten about, like the Sharon Carter of the mix, and I felt like they tried to give her a power broker moment at the end of the movie to make us really care for her. But I felt like there was something there with her animosity to her older brother and her dad, but they just kind of forgot about it. And again, they were replaced with Trevor jokes, but yeah, she was, I didn't even mention her in my review because I didn't think that she really brought that much outside of the post-credit scene to explore her being this boss of the 10 rings and like, why are they listening to her? She doesn't even have any rings, but she's going to run this organization. But okay, I didn't really care for this character. I thought it was just kind of a forgotten about character, to be honest with you.
I got you. Eman.
Yeah, her performance didn't bother me. It was, I think, what Elliot is talking about. It was more of the writing. They just did not want to give her anything meaningful here. I mean, she did not have meaningful conversations with Simu, or with Shang-Chi. It was just like, you left me. Can we go deeper with that? Like, I think that was that was character defining for her. Again, this is something where it's like, yo, drive these things home. These are what make these people into who they are today. Give it a little bit more time, give it more meat. This is why I say we don't need all these jokes all the time. Exactly. You can actually use that time to build up characters to tell a more meaningful story so that we can relate to them a lot more. It makes the investment worth it. So yeah, I mean, even towards the end, like it kind of felt a little panderish. Like, all right, I guess you're just gonna run this. I didn't care.
Which,
like, I just didn't care.
Her running the underground fight, I thought was a huge missed opportunity. That can't remember the name where they found her, but shouldn't have been in Madripoor. I would have thought that would have been a perfect place to have.
That would have been
we saw in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. She's been running, part of that and tied into the power broker. I thought that was a huge missed opportunity for her to be a part of that kind of that ring of villains, but no.
Where's Madripoor exactly?
The Falcon and Winter Soldier, when they found the power broker.
Like where is it on the map exactly? Like,
I want to say it's like Europe-ish.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know.
But I mean, maybe this is like a subdivision.
I got you. One character I wish we could have got a lot more of is her, Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
She was dope. I kind of thought that I thought she was the character that was going to be in the beginning fighting Wenwu the whole time, but I was like, maybe that's her, as a younger version or something. But then as she died, I was like, Michelle Yeoh died. What about these other scenes that was in the trailer? But of course, we she's there. So she's a legend. She's a classic. She's we all know that. If you know martial arts, you know who she is. But one of the things I want to talk about now is just a little bit more of the fighting, the things that I liked about it and that I don't. I do like this. As soon as old dude hit Katy Aquafina on the head, he let him have it with that hit him with the heat. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that's what's up right there. Yeah. And the fight scene was dope on this bus. I liked it. This was another scene where I was smiling like, yeah, get it. And we talk about the comedy and stuff like that. It could have been a missed opportunity, but I thought the comedy hit right here, with the guy recording on the thing, because I would do the same thing. Everybody would, the commentary may be questionable, but it worked for me. And so I liked it. I want to if y'all want to jump here and comment on that, you can, but I'm also talking about a criticism as well. As far as the fighting too, but yeah, Elliot, how did you feel about the bus scene and what is this guy's name right here? I'm gonna say
Razor Fist.
Yeah, Razor Fist.
Silly. Yeah,
Razor Fist. That's such a great name.
Such an obvious
sound like a comic book name.
Razor Fist.
I'm trying to find a picture,
James
but
Bond.
Yeah, this is how he looks in the movie. This is how he looked in the comic book, one iteration. That's awful. Yeah, but how did you feel about that bus scene, Elliot, with Razor Fist?
The bus scene was actually pretty cool. Again, I think that was like the perfect mixture of MCU kind of comedy being thrown in there, as well as having action and not cutting too far away from the action and following up with that. I actually really enjoyed that scene and kind of the beat that came in and seeing all the hand-to-hand combat was really cool. But I would to go back to Razor Fist, completely X that character. I'm not too familiar with Shang-Chi. I assume this is a big character, maybe in his lore, maybe not. But this character to me Why not just have, I believe the character name was Death Dealer or whatever, the guy with the mask. Replace him with the Razor Fist guy. To me made no sense to be in the film. He was a so underwhelming secondary villain to Wenwu. It should have just been the Death Dealer. He worked with Shang-Chi since he was a kid. It would have had more emotional resonance if he would have been there the whole time. Every time he had to fight over something, he fought him in the building. He fought him on the bus. He fights him at the end. But that character to me was so wasted and given that the Razor Fist. I don't know why Razor Fist was the secondary villain in this film. But either way, the bus scene was tight. If I'm being honest, I wanted more of the hand-to-hand combat, especially in the third act. But I thought the bus.
Oh, we're definitely gonna talk about that.
I thought the bus scene and the fighting scene, the Rush Hour 2 fight on the side of the building was a great choreography. But I thought the action, it wasn't two big blockbuster films we got this year with Snake Eyes and Mortal Kombat. I feel like their action wasn't as up to par as I wouldn't have wanted to be. So I thought that out of the 3 big blockbuster martial arts films, this was top of the line for me in regards to just really good choreography.
Definitely. Eman, bus scene. How you feel?
Look, they brought in the stunt team, Jackie Chan's stunt team, to coordinate a lot of these, and you see that, right? Like a lot of super cop, in this, especially with the side building fight and all that. So I really appreciated the fact that they did that, because again, I mean, it was pretty apparent straight up. But yeah, my man right here, the Asian Taskmaster. I'm like, where's he at? Where's he at? I'm like, we literally see him whooping. Now, I don't know if it's the same character. I'm assuming it's the same guy and not like a mantle, or something. But if it was the same guy, I love the fact that when Shang-Chi saw him, he was like, oh, you here? Oh, it's on site. Because I got some pent up. Remember that time you hit my back? Oh no, we got to talk, So I was hoping that he actually would have been a character that would have been like, this is your main bad guy before the final boss. Before you get to your daddy, you got to deal with this dude first. And I'm assuming this guy might be a woman too. I don't know. But I'm sitting here thinking like, man, the Razor Fist or Razor Iron Fist, whatever, I did not care. And he felt honestly forced. He felt like, yo, we like this guy. We think he's an obscure character because Marvel likes to push obscure characters. And I'm like, he shouldn't have made it past the bus. Like after the bus, it should have been like, all right, he was a cool gimmick character to see. Fine. You get your little shout out, for the 1960s, 70s comic character that you had in the barrel of the bit. I get that. I don't need him because the way they treated him, especially all the way to the end, I'm like, y'all really about to bring this dude back. Like y'all really about to make him a thing for us to keep going. In the meantime, Asian Taskmaster is gone. And I was just like, what a waste. That was a waste. But
to Eman's point, he was like the backdrop in Winter Soldier. He should have just been in that opening scene, and that was just it. And they should have just had, I honestly think that they should have had Death Dealer be more of a son to Wenwu, and that was kind of animosity for Shang-Chi to have this like anger towards this person. So I thought they totally dropped the ball on Death Dealer. He should have been literally the secondary foe, maybe even a brother to Shang-Chi, but no, he just was popped in and out and died, and that was such a waste of character.
It was a waste because like when he came in into the club, I was like, oh, it's about to go on. Like it's about to go down now, but no. But look, I will say this also, because I agree with all the points with the fight choreography and everything. I think that for Marvel, they had enough hand-to-hand combat only because it's PG-13 and they still want to sell it to kids. That's kind of the drawback with this. I do think that if Marvel would finally grow up, and allow these things to get more mature, then you could definitely increase the expectation for more violent action and hand-to-hand combat. But this, I think, given what we've had in the MCU, this is the best Marvel action flick. Whether that's saying much, I don't know. I wouldn't compare this to Kill Bill. I definitely wouldn't compare it to the action I'm talking about. I wouldn't compare it to the Raid because it just, Marvel, Disney has that cap. They won't let you go past that cap. But I do think that this is the best that they can go and that they can afford. And like I mentioned before, I like the other wushu fighting as well. I thought it was a nice contrast. I like the fact that they gave us that difference, not only with Wenwu, like his style, but also with the mother style. And I like how like Shang-Chi found a way to blend both of those. So thematically, the action had a very interesting story in itself. So I liked how they combined those styles, because, you know, especially in martial arts, like they tell stories, they have histories behind them. You know, it's not just like, yo, I'm gonna punch for this reason. No, I'm punching this way because back in the day, this was how I guarded with my sickle, you know, or this is how we fended with our shovel or something, or whatever, you know. Everything has a meaning and stuff. So I like the fact that the action wasn't there just to be there. It was there because it all had meaning. And so does everything else in this movie have meaning, like family and names and heritage and so on and so forth. So I think it worked for that.
Yeah.
I see what you're trying to say, but I'm gonna push back on that here in a second. But you also brought up the raid, and I mean, even though I'm comparing those, I just feel like Marvel has the money and resources to hire people to give you the right level of intensity. And of course, the raid is rated R.
Yeah.
This is PG-13, so it's not going to be as intense. However, one of the things in this movie I noticed is there are not two characters that are trying to kill each other. And when you don't have that, the intensity is just not there, because you had Razor Fist trying to kill Shang-Chi. He was just trying to escape. You had the Death Dealer trying to kill Shang-Chi. They were just trying to escape. Yes, they were killing people at the end, but those were soul-sucking dragons, not, you know, human beings and stuff. So it wasn't like, I'm trying to kill you, you're trying to kill me. And so, you know, I'll, you know, in Marvel's defense, you know, I kind of understand that, but they can upscale it in the future MC movies. The other character that I was talking about that I felt that the acting was bad was who we're talking about, Razor Fist. It was just horrible acting. I said to myself, like, why is the acting so crappy? This is the first time I've ever just witnessed just bad acting. He stood out like a sore thumb. Like I think Elliot, you said, it just didn't feel like he belonged there. I don't know if it's because he was a white guy surrounded by Asians, but it just did not feel right. It just was like, why are you here? How did you meet these people? Like, what's going on? You know, they kind of dropped the ball there. And so that's just quite unfortunate. But now, let's go ahead and get over to the ending of this movie, the final battle, and these post-credit scenes. And about these fights, going back to Razor Fist, and the comedy, it did not work for me when one of the people in the video was like, your weapons are not going to work against these creatures, and then he realized it, okay, we can work together. It was just corny as F.
Marvel corny.
I hate when that happens. This formidable group that's been trained for I don't know how long. The 10 rings are no joke, right? They're supposed to be soldier level assassins underground. We don't supposed to see them before they even hit you, but they're just like, okay, well, that felt that undervalue. And that was another thing. The 10 rings to me never felt threatening. They felt like 10 people to me. They did in this film. They felt more threatening in Iron Man 1 than they did in this film to me. Like I never felt their presence of being like,
oh, I see what
underground. I just never felt. And that moment exactly encapsulates how I felt about them. Like, okay, we'll join you.
Yeah, it's like
they're the Foot Clan at this point. No, seriously, they're the Foot Clan because the Foot Clan was supposed to be menacing, but didn't nobody care about them. It's Shredder that's menacing. So in this sense, it's Wenwu that's menacing. Don't nobody want to mess with Wenwu. But the 10 rings, man, whatever. Y'all just dudes they picked up off the street, apparently.
And you could have easily conveyed that same point, like, okay, we have to work together with no dialogue. Like he could have could have looked at his weapons, looked at the monster, and then looked back and been like, gave a nod.
And somebody just toss him a bamboo stick and be like, hey, we gotta do this. And
he's like,
okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Just go. Yeah.
Like, okay. It's just like, oh, stop it. You can still sell tickets without all this cornball stuff. So that rubbed me the wrong way. But I have to say this before when I was talking about pointless stuff. So the bus scene was nice. Yep. I liked it. It was cool. When they went up on the skyscraper building and the Death Dealer was chasing Shang and all them, that was nice. That was cool. But all of it fell by the wayside. And I was like, what the F was the point of this? When Wenwu showed up as well, I was like, what? You could have just came your whole damn self and like, what's up, son? How you doing? It's been a minute. hey man, I got this going on at the crib. Won't you come through? You know what I'm saying? We got some food on the grill. Where that pendant at? You know what I'm saying? I need the pendant because you know your mama, we both love your mama. You know, I got this message that she trapped. I need the pendant to go find where she is. Why did you send the I'm finna say ripcord, razor fist, and the death dealer to kill him? And then you came in and saved the day with your rings. It made it pointless. And then when they got to the home base, Razor Fist and Sean were riding in the same car, the same helicopter. I'm like, this dude just tried to kill me. He chopped the bus in half, and now we finna ride together. And you know, like with our seatbelts on, I was like, that bothered the crap out of me. I was loving the first act of this movie so much, but right there, it dipped for me, and that's where like a lot of the plot just started unraveling because I just did not understand it was all of that was just pointless to me, and it just kind of. It took away its substance, its significance. I don't know how y'all feel about that. You can comment if you want to, but I did a big like when I was watching it. So
go ahead.
One thing I'll say about Wenwu is I think, and I think he even said it. He's like, I told them they wouldn't be able to kill you. So I took that as like he was like testing to see if his son was still in a, you know, had those isms in him to fight and live for. That's what I kind of
thought of that too.
His son out for those two things. And then the second thing, going back to just it could have made it a little bit better. Razor Fist could have been a young boy in the clan and training with Shang-Chi. There was so much like this kind of youth within his origins that could have just played more into it to make Razor Fist a little bit more formidable, a little bit more fleshed out. He could have been raised with Shang-Chi and learned all the things. And again, I thought there was so much youth that could have been told in the story. But again, going back to Wenwu, I think that was his whole thing. Like he just wanted to see if the son still was a badass.
I thought of that, but I still feel he could have went a different way about it. Eman, you got any comments on that?
No, I mean that was kind of it, right? Like one thing is, you know, Wenwu knew he was watching them the whole time. He said, "Yo, I let you have your 10 years. I let you throw your little tantrum and do whatever, but I've been watching you." You know, so the fact that he knew what he was, how he was, and how he was acting, you know, I think that kind of plays a part. I also, you also know that he is like a deadly assassin, you know, and you probably know that people like Razor Fist and all these other folks probably can't hang with him, you know. So I think that understanding was there, but at the same time, like, because I know, Brandon, you had mentioned earlier that, like, you know, nobody was really going to kill anyone. I don't think anybody really wants to kill anyone because Wenwu's not like, yo, I need the death of my child. You know, he's just like, yo, just go get that pendant. By the way, he's probably going to give you them hands. So you're going to have to protect yourself because he's a trained killer. He might kill you and you're going to have to, you know, so like, I think that's why you have all this evasive, defensive, but I'm still going to kind of sort of give it to you type of action, because at the end of the day, the 10 Rings is a family organization. You know,
family owned,
family business.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people fight together. They like Elliot said, they might have grown up together. So it's kind of like, you know, we gonna throw these hands, but at the same time, we probably eat together too. You know, so I think you just have all these different dynamics going into it. And it's probably more complex than they've conveyed it to be. But don't get me wrong, yo, you can give me an assassin clan versus another any day. I'll take that. But you know, again, Disney family friendly. I think they had their limitations, and that's where we have to cap it.
What's the clan that's in Daredevil? The fist, the shadow,
the hand.
The hand. I would have loved for the hand and maybe been implemented a little
instead
bit
of the whatever Iron Gang that they can. If you had brought the hand in there,
that would have been
nice. But then they would have to acknowledge that Daredevil exists in the MCU because they haven't yet.
That could have been a little Easter egg.
That would have been dope.
Yeah,
and not even say it, just say like, just show the symbol. That would have been dope.
I wonder how that's all going to play in because, correct me if I'm wrong, like when it comes to Daredevil and Iron Fist, isn't there other sacred realms of martial arts clans that are linked to the earth as well? Kind of like how this
Iron Fist hit like I forget the name of the place. That's in another dimension.
Okay.
So where he goes to train and do all that stuff, that's in another dimension. Kind of like how Tao Lo is in this movie.
You're right,
Like they are also in another dimension.
Right.
Now I don't know if the MCU is gonna blend this together. I mean, I feel like the fact that you got a multiverse, the fact that you got different dimensions, it's enough room for everybody. Everybody ain't got to be from the same hood, you know, but yeah, everybody's coming from different places and different disciplines and stuff like that. But if we go into the comics, Shang-Chi is better than Iron Fist, so we can settle that.
Barely, because I think Shang-Chi is number 1, Iron Fist is number 2.
I think Iron Fist is supposed to be up there, but some people have given him the business. Some people.
You would know more than me.
Hey, Black Panther gave him the business. Come on now.
Black Panther's in top 5, ain't
he?
Yeah.
He done made up his own martial arts after mastering everything else.
Spider-Man can whoop them all though. No,
come on, man. Stop. Come on, stop.
But don't Shang-Chi actually train Spider-Man and teach him the way of the
that's where he had his spider food.
Yeah. But we'll be another 3 hours talking about that. So, Wenwu, how do y'all feel about coming up to the end? He was hearing this voice, thinking that his mother, not his mother, but his woman, his wife, was being trapped. I did not really care for that. That was kind of suspect to me. I mean, you've been this formidable person for thousands of years. You have all this power, and for you to be, it just kind of seemed like he was easily influenced by the devil. And it just kind of broke his character. Like he just wasn't as badass. Like, oh, but my baby's calling. I gotta go save her. I don't know. That was just kind of weak. And we can just dive. We can just talk about the rest of the end of the film here. They go to Tao Lo. He's punching the wall. The creatures are coming out. Guys, when I was going into this movie, I was like, please do not shortchange me on the martial arts and give me a whole bunch of CGI crap. That's gonna substitute the hand-to-hand fighting. The hand-to-hand fighting was good, but y'all, this was too much goddamn CGI. They set off a CGI bomb. It did not do anything for me. I was wondering, what the hell is going on? Who is supposed to be beating who? What is the power? Where's the weak point at? I just like kind of like the end of Black Panther, how them fighting in the mine didn't do anything for me. It was just a big CGI fest. This was worse. You know, it worked in Black Widow. I liked them falling from the sky, and that was cool. But this scene right here, man, I was just sitting here just like the dragon is flying around, and and the great protector, the dragon thing. Why didn't you protect? Where was you at when Wenwu was punching the wall? Like did Shang-Chi have to go down there and activate him or something like that for him to come up? I'm like, you the great protector, you ain't protecting the damn thing. You down there scuba diving, get up and stop him from breaking the wall. I mean, it just didn't do anything for me. That whole dragon great protector thing should have just been more fighting, just more of hand-to-hand fighting, more fighting with the bow staff. And that little brief scene where Shang-Chi was fighting his dad in the temple, you know, he had the bow staff and he was just blocking it with the rings and stuff. That was badass. I want to see more of that. But we got dragons flying in the sky. Elliot, how you feeling? You agree? You disagree? How you feeling about the voice, his woman's voice? How you feeling about it all? Let us know.
CGI, and this is again, this is 13 years, 25 films in the running. This is just MCU. This is the third act. Besides, the only film that comes to mind that didn't rely heavily on CGI was Civil War. And I thought that this could have been the perfect opportunity to be just as impactful as Civil War as that fight, having Shang-Chi and his sister fighting their dad. No magic, no dragons, they could have just been an intimate fighting scene between the family. The fight, literally fighting, coming to blows.
Would have been badass.
Would have been so much better. But instead, we get, Sonic the Hedgehog, rings flying all over the place. We have the weak army of the army. I don't know. The scene was, unfortunately, this was when Marvel said, we got, your budget, spend it. This is where you're going to spend it. Throw Trevor, throw Morris in the mix. And it just, unfortunately for me, it kind of was underwhelming. And also, you guys just mentioned it, they introduced this almost Wakanda-like world, this new dimension. It was almost too much going on in this third act. It could have been so much more simplified of this family drama, but they literally throw in a whole dimension into the MCU on top of, I have no idea what this dark entity is. I don't know if it's tied to Dormammu. I don't know if it's tied to the Deviants. I don't know if it's tied to anything of that nature, but they throw that in the mix. It was too much going on for me, but yeah. It was visually, I mean, it was nice to look at. I'm not gonna lie, it was like watching fireworks, watching the dragons, you know, watching Game of Thrones. I was just waiting for Khaleesi and Jon Snow to get on a dragon eventually, but since they're in the MCU. But yeah, unfortunately, it was the Marvel third act CGI fest.
Yeah, it was too much for me. I will go ahead and say I did see this on a small screen. I know this was filled with IMAX cameras, and so maybe I'm gonna feel different about it when I see this in IMAX the way it was meant to be. But it was just too much. Eman, how you feeling?
So I disagree with all of it. I actually enjoyed it. And but for different reasons, right? So first of all, the desires, you know, they mentioned that like this demon or this entity is gonna tap in to whatever your desires are. And like I mentioned before, this dude's been around for thousands of years. He ain't never hit nothing, and then all of a sudden he found this woman, and boom, he's in love. That was his one desire. And I mean, to me, what always, I guess, makes me understand this a little different is, you know, we're temporal beings, right? Like we live for 80, 90, 100 years and we die. We don't really understand the complexities of living longer lives and how monotonous things get, how boring things get, and how you go through the motions for so long. Then the one time you get that spark, it's like brand new life for you. It's a brand new phenomenon. It's a brand new mentality, a new worldview, a new perspective. And I think that's kind of what that meant for him, where he was like, yo, I've been conquering worlds forever. I finally found something that gave my life purpose, a new purpose at that. So the fact that this evil entity tapped into that thing that he gained and then lost, I thought that thematically that worked. So it didn't bother me that he was being lured into this, because again, love makes you do stupid and crazy things anyway. But beyond that, when it came to like the big battle scene in the final third act, the problem I had with it, first of all, was the fact that I was like, yo, this is straight up a setup from Black Panther. You know, we got the two clans. They kind of don't really want to kill each other, but they kind of have to go at it. You know, and then of course, mythical creatures, big old rhinos and Black Panther, big old lion, dragon things, and you know, Shang-Chi. And I was like, dang it, like y'all could have found your own lane to do a different type of battle. But this literally is a copy from Black Panther. Like it's the setup, the lineup, the face off, and all of that. So I was just kind of like, you know, even the main antagonist going off and doing their own thing. Like I was like, that part y'all missed me with. But when it came to the big Final Fantasy dragon fight, you know, I didn't have too much, because it did kind of feel very video game-ish. Oh, yeah. You know, like if you play Final Fantasy or whatever, it felt very right out of those books. But the thing is that when you watch Korean films, you know, or just films in Asia, this is not uncommon to have big mythical creatures flying around and doing all the, what was it? The iron monkeys, golden monkey, like I forget what it was, but like this is common.
A lot of those aren't good though.
Huh?
No, a lot of those aren't good.
They're not good. They do make a lot of money, right? And the reason why they make a lot of money is because it appeals to that culture. And that's the thing where I can't knock it if it just doesn't appeal to me. Not saying that, you know, you're not, you know, entitled to your opinion. But the thing is that I understood the fact that they were doing this because it means something to a different culture, you know, to see this great protector dragon, to see it fighting off the evil. I might not get it, but I at least understand. And this is, again, just because I've watched those other type of genre films, I understand it means something for them. So it didn't bother me because I was like, oh, okay, like, you know, yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't have minded having a little bit more, you know, one-on-one fights and stuff like that. But I'm like, oh, okay, they go on the big, you know, dragon route. Cool. You know, like if I'm sure that maybe I'm hoping it has a deeper impact for people in Asia. You know, I'm hoping that it taps into something that they're like, oh my gosh, we feel seen because you're doing something in this American movie respecting Asian culture, you know, or respecting Asian cinema. You know, so for me, I kind of chalked it up as a cultural difference. and I can't really be negative on that just personally. But it didn't bother me. The CGI for me anyway, it didn't come off as bad as Black Panther. I understand people's issues with it, but I'm also, when it comes to these big fantasy things, I'm a little bit more lenient when it comes to CGI. It's like it's not gonna ruin the movie for me, because I understand we're dealing with fiction, we're dealing with fantasy, we're dealing with magical creatures or whatever. I already have to be in a place of suspended belief. So, for me to like, what am I supposed to say? This, the fins are wrong, the scales are off. Like, he needs more horns. Like, I don't know. It's fantasy. I'm just like, man, look, your guy's riding a dragon, fighting another dragon. Whatever. We there now. Let's go.
I will say, I wish we would have maybe, to go off that point, because it was all introduced in that third act. Of course, there was mythology and they were leading up to it, but I wish we would have gotten like a sequence of like them kind of going into that origin as Michelle Yeoh was telling them everything that happened. I wish we could have seen that maybe a little bit earlier to film, for it won't be as abrupt. Like, oh my goodness,
you mean rather than the artwork?
Yeah, like actually kind of display it, for we can at least get kind of used to, okay, there's dragons and there's, okay, it's all, I mean, again, totally believe it's Marvel, it's comics, you got it, it's no, it's fictional, but I wish they would have established it a little bit more in the mythology of it.
I echo that, and very great points, Eman, but I'm gonna push back a little bit. And you made a good point about the culture. My pushback is I feel that we could have led up to that. It seems you're right about the whole culture thing. Of course, it's going to mean different to other groups than us, but it feels like they try to cram all of, and I don't just know Chinese culture to come to a conclusion, but it just seemed like they tried to cram it all into one film. Like we go from hand to hand fighting to this, the family dynamic, and then let's have this. I mean, I feel like this could have been a sequence for like Shang-Chi, part 3 or part 2. It was just a big jump for me. Like you could have just spread this out. And I don't know. It just, you go from hand to hand fighting to flying dragons and one thing. I don't know. It could just be because I didn't connect to it. If I knew the culture like that, I could have been like, oh, I remember hearing that story when I was 7, when my grandmother, whatever,
Right.
My other point is this: when it comes to Wenwu's motivation, great point about the desires, because I do remember they said that. My thing is, I don't feel like the supporting characters tried to communicate enough to him that this sounds delusional. It's just like, okay, this is what I'm trying to do, and we're gonna go rescue my mom. And okay, well, good luck, Dad. Unless I'm missing something or forgetting something, it seemed like, Dad, come on, man, for real. Your mom is over here in the cave somewhere. Blah blah blah. Like, can we listen to reason? Why do you feel this way? Why do you feel that way? I just don't. That wasn't there. It was just like, well, my dad is he's gonna go do it, and we got to stop him. I kind of just wanted more of a confrontation between those characters. Trying to come up with a better resolution of stopping
but why him. Why would they do that? Like, they're not ignorant to the fact that other weird stuff happens in this world.
Yeah, this is a post-Thanos snap.
Right. It's a post-Thanos snap. Yeah. They mama told them stories about stuff. Their dad literally proved it to them, like, hey, look at this magic, trail or whatever. Yeah. And it kind of reconfirmed a lot of stuff that they've been told in the past, that there was a mythical, magical land that mama came from, So I
just want a conversation, bro.
Huh?
I just want a conversation.
You mean like, but from who though? Like who?
From Simu.
But why? What would he say to the dad?
You tripping?
But he doesn't know that yet, right? Like, the only time he realizes, they did have that conversation though. They had that conversation after he goes to the other land and he learns, like, oh wait, there's an evil monster that's tempting your dad.
Locks him up, yeah.
That's when he was like, Dad, you're tripping.
Yeah,
that what you think it is not it. But before that, they didn't know enough to refute him or to challenge him at that point. Not yet, anyway.
Maybe I forgot, but I think about 2016, 2 comic book films that compared. They kind of had a similar plot in a way. One was able to execute it the right way, the other one wasn't. I'm talking about Captain America: Civil War and BVS. Okay.
Okay.
You had two good guys going against each other. Batman v Superman, they were not communicating at all. Bruce, I did not, or I don't forgot the plot because I moved, but I think y'all get what I'm trying to say. I am innocent. I'm not guilty. They should have been screaming at each other to resolve this. And Captain America Civil War, they did that. Captain America's like, bro, I understand you don't like Bucky. I understand he just killed these people over here. He was brainwashed, and we got to move right now because we got these other super soldiers over here that if we don't go stop them, it's gonna wreck shop. Tony like, bro, I don't give a F about. I ain't never heard that before. He just killed people. Yeah, it may not be his fault, but hey, we got to keep him under control, whether he's brainwashed or not. We can't just let him loose. And so that was a conversation in between parties where they're trying to use logic to come out on top, and I just kind of felt that was missing in the dialogue between Simu or Shang-Chi and Wenwu. I think
the film kind of, for me, there was a lot of motivation for the character, but I think it got lost in translation. Number one, they mentioned that the rings are kind of influencing him to kind of, once he puts it on, it kind of almost makes him this good man that is maybe good inside, kind of come corrupt, but they kind of lost that plot a little bit. But also, I thought that they lost the translation of his whole goal of fighting this land was to find the Great Protector, to get these ancient powers, to get this ancient god level type of kung fu. So I thought that was enough motivation for him to go to that land to get that aspect back versus the whole, like, the monster tricking him and all that stuff. So I think they could have just, to me, could have focused on the rings being like turning him into this. I'm driven to just go back to who I was before I had kids, before I got them fall in love. I want to go back to my mission of getting this ancient great protector, taking it into my own and ruling, making the 10 rings even more formidable than what they are. So I think that kind of got convoluted with the whole monster and the taking your desires. I wish they would have maybe focused more on that versus the whole, this demon, whispering in his ear, the good devil on his shoulder or whatever. But yeah,
I got you, man.
I feel like we're gonna get that later, because I really feel like this movie should have been the first to jump off Phase 4, not Black Widow. Like Black Widow should have happened in 2016.
The more I think about that movie, it's almost unnecessary.
It's forgettable.
Really?
And yes.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's one of the reasons I've said from the jump, Black Widow was never gonna hit no $1 billion. It was never gonna do that Captain Marvel money, because even Captain Marvel only benefited from the fact that of the timing. We wanted to know, how is this gonna tie into Endgame? That was it. If it wasn't for that hype and riding that wave, it wouldn't have gotten that success. And unfortunately, Black Widow, it doesn't have a huge impact to the MCU for the future or the past. We can't go back to Black Widow and be like, oh, that's how Hydra started. Oh, that's what is going to feed this thing in the future. Don't care about none of that. So it's a movie that exists and that's fine, whatever. But Shang-Chi, this is a very good one because we don't know anything about the 10 rings. We don't know exactly where they came from. We don't know their connection with this evil entity, because this entity sure enough knew about the 10 rings. How do they know each other? Why are they connected? Where did they come from? What is this beacon? What are y'all talking about?
Okay. Well, that's what I was gonna say is this right here. I enjoy Black Widow. I just want to say that. But this is exactly what I was gonna talk about. It is now time, guys, to talk about this mid and post credit scenes to wrap this thing up. This is going to talk about the last one real quick because that was the least exciting. Okay, so the sister, it was cool. The sister comes back, she finds out that she's going, that she's going to be over the 10 rings. She where's her picture at? Oh, let me just throw that up there real quick. I can't even find the picture, but y'all know what I'm trying to talk about.
You deleted it because you don't like her acting.
Yes, forgettable.
Where is it at? Damn it. Where's the picture? Oh well. Yeah, here, yeah. She's gonna go be over the 10 rings now. She took over the base. The daddy's dead. They gave the little title thing at the end. The 10 rings could return. I was like, okay, cool. We'll see how that goes. It wasn't no big deal for me. Y'all any comments on that?
To me, it was weird that they showed the 10 rings will return and not Shang-Chi. Like, he's the main character. Why do we get his title card up there? But to me, this screams. I think there's might be a little bit more implications, bigger implications. I think that she will be connected to Armored Wars because this speaking of circles, the 10 rings, this goes back to Iron Man with 10 rings being introduced, and it would make so much sense that coming full circle that she would be a part of Rhodey's story and the Iron Man suits getting out in the market, potentially tie into the whack-ass power broker. I think that's who she was maybe on the phone with, was Shang-Chi's sister. So I think that might play more into, again, Armored Wars, or who knows, Disney Plus is giving shows to Echo and spin-off characters. She might get her own show to kind of really explore the 10 rings, explore the origins. But my money is this is going to tie to Armored Wars because it ties back to Iron Man, which this whole kind of thing started.
I did not think of that at all. Eman, you got anything?
No, I was right on the same page with all of that. I mean, I like the fact that, you know, she revamped the 10 rings to have a diversity inclusion program. Good for her. You know, it's a much better workplace. You know, they probably got an HR system and everything now, so it's cool. It's cool, right? But no, I mean, you know, whatever. Like, this is Disney Plus material written all over it.
Yep.
Just like in Black Widow, how they're tying that, you know, post-credit scene to Hawkeye, you know, and stuff. So this just feels like, okay, y'all need a bad guy organization, just like, because Hydra's not around. Right. So the 10 rings are going to be something, and it just so happens to be run by her. Like, all right, whatever. Like, again, Armor Wars, I think, you know, that was kind of like where I was thinking with it too. Yeah. Because, you know, I think the whole plot is like somebody stealing Tony's weapons, and, you know, they're doing some things with it. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense that the 10 rings will be involved. You know, they've been involved since the very jump, so why not? You know, but not to mention it'll force people to go back to watch Shang-Chi. That's what they also want. They want you to watch this, to go back to rewatch that, and keep you on Disney Plus. Gotcha. So yeah, that's it. I didn't really care much else beyond that. Maybe she adds some Black Widows in there. I don't know.
Yeah. I am I really didn't care at first, but I'm more and more looking forward to Hawkeye now. But but guys, let's talk about the mid-credit scene. Man, your boy Wong comes through, and what was it, Simu Lu, and they try to chill and have nice drinks and stuff. Yeah, we beat our daddy and all that stuff. And Wong comes out of nowhere. Shang-Chi, where you at, cuz? We got business to handle. Come through the portal. Everybody like, what the hell? And I did like that comedic scene, but we got Bruce Banner up in here. Mark Ruffalo with the sling in his arm. His arm is still broken from Endgame. You know, oh, Elliot's not happy about that. Then we got Captain Marvel coming through on the overhead projector. And we find out these rings are sending off a beacon. I don't know. Y'all both look frustrated. I'm excited. What does this mean? Where's the beacon? The rings are over 1,000 years old. I'm like, what is going on? I have no clue. Wong up here talking about, hey, y'all are part of a new world now, and so much opportunities, and your world is going to flip upside down. Elliot, what did it mean to you, bro? Break it down. What you got? What are your theories? Let us know.
Yeah. So I mean, look, the only thing I threw my thumbs down was Marvel and the Hulk. They don't care. They do not care about the Hulk. He literally is just a forgettable character. They don't know if he's Hulk. He's human form. They do not know what to do. Now, granted, I'm not trying to give them an excuse. I know the whole Universal thing is conflicting with them, maybe fleshing them out. But right now, I haven't liked the Hulk since Avengers. The Hulk is so weak. He's one of the weakest. He's the most. They tore the Hulk down. He's just so stupid. Why is he in human form? I don't know. But minus that,
I just realized that
he was. I'm tripping. It makes no sense.
I'm tripping. I just realized that he went from Professor Huck. I just forgot about that. Damn, it didn't even click.
Too, apparently.
Oh my god.
Too, apparently.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So that was the biggest issue with that scene, was just like,
this just snapped.
Did they just film this prior to Endgame?
I'm gonna get you with another one too, but go on.
He was Hulk in Endgame.
There's more. There's more.
Okay.
Yeah. So even taking that away, and then the other thing that stood out to me was, where the hell is Doctor Strange? Is he chilling on the planet with Nick Fury, just sipping mimosas? Like, where is he? In WandaVision? I guess he took a break. He's like, hey, I was blipped for 5 years. You guys are crazy. I'm taking a vacation. Where's Doctor Strange? Neither here nor there. The actual scene is interesting. Seeing Captain Marvel, which makes sense because I'm a big fan of Dustin Daniel Cretton. This is the 4th time they work together. The Short-Term 12, Glass Castle, Just Mercy, and now. So it makes sense that Captain Marvel would come into his first MCU film. So that was cool to see. And again, another inconsistency. She has long hair. Last time we saw her, she had shorter hair. So it's just like, I don't know if Marvel has not been talking to each other about the TV, the show, the continuity there. But taking that aside, the part where Wong opens it up in this beacon, to me, it clicked soon as not clicked, but to me, as soon as we got that Eternals trailer just a couple days ago.
That Eman hasn't watched.
Oh, I don't want to spoil anything, but the whole emergence and how the emergence has woken up this kind of ticking time bomb to a sense, that kind of to me maybe spoke to the deviants, maybe potentially, or stepping out of that realm and knowing that MCU is talking about Moon Knight and Blade and now Doctor Strange and Supernatural. I'm thinking that the Midnight Suns are coming to fruition more sooner rather than later in regards to Shang-Chi maybe being part of this recruitment team and this whole new world of Supernatural that Marvel wants to go down. So whatever that beacon's calling to, is it again more to dark magic, more of, do Marmu type of situations? Only time will tell. But that was the thing I liked. But everything else was like, again, Bruce, why are you not Hulk? Why is Captain Marvel's hair? Where's Doctor Strange? But outside of that, it intrigues me to see where they go next with the 10 rings and where the origins of the rings come from.
Eman.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you go to my channel. I got a whole video chronicling how Marvel has failed the Hulk. Chronicling. Because it wasn't until Avengers, that was the last time my man showed up and showed out. That was it. After he punched at Chitauri's ship, that was it. But anyway, yes, no, I mean, that was the cool thing about this post-credit scene, right? So like one, boom, there you go, right there. So, yes, we do have, I think the most important thing that we see, well, one of the important things is time has passed because we never know when Shang-Chi actually takes place. It only says in the movie present day. So we don't know what that means, right? But the post-credit scene, I think, is pretty indicative of it's clearly months or almost years, however long it takes for Captain Marvel to grow her hair that long. That's how far along this time gap is. So this ain't really fresh off of Endgame. We saw in Endgame she has short hair. We saw Bruce, was Smart Hulk. So clearly something happened with Bruce. My guess is that this happens maybe after She-Hulk, because She-Hulk is supposed to be coming up. Maybe when Bruce does his little blood transfusion to, get She-Hulk her power. Maybe that's why now he depowered or whatever. I'm not going to talk about his messed up arm because it's stupid. But the mere fact that Captain Marvel, yes, longer hair, the fact that she's still going off doing things, I get the impression that might be Fury, because Fury's the only one that be beeping her, and calling her to things. I'm wondering, is Secret Invasion about to pop off, and that's why she gotta go, because apparently that's a thing that she does. But yeah, to the more important thing with the 10 rings, like I said, this is a beacon, right? This is what we want in our MCU movies. Yes, give us the origin stories for these super niche characters, 100%. But at the same time, you need to tell me why this movie, how it impacts the future. We don't know anything about the 10 rings. We don't know who it's calling, where it's calling, who the previous owners might be. I mean, there are some comic precedents, so some things that might be the case. But like I said, there was a relationship between this evil entity and the rings. It knew the rings' existence. It knew the rings were the only thing powerful enough to break it out. So there's clearly some history there. And I like the fact that this movie is really just kind of teasing us and saying like, yo, you're going to have to wait and see what happens, on whether or not, or what this actually means. And I question when they say the 10 rings will return, is it the organization or the actual rings? So either way, I thought it was cool. This is the kind of tease that you want to kind of get you excited to be like, okay, we about to go there. I'm with Elliot. I think that they are definitely going to start introducing more outwardly dimension, beings, entities, things. I mean, personally, I kind of wish they would do this with Black Panther. Long overdue. I don't know why we ain't really seen Bast yet. You know, like that needs to be something before we get into all these other people, all the Khonshu and everybody up. Man, y'all can't talk about Bast anyway. But yeah,
it's coming. I mean, it's coming. We only had one film, so you know, maybe in the show or in the sequel, Wakanda Forever. Just hopefully Bob Chapek don't mess all this up. But I'm really excited about this. I can't believe it just clicked that he's in human form now. To be honest, the short hair thing don't bother me because I'm just thinking maybe it's 5 or 6 months, 8 months in the future.
It could be. Yeah,
you know, I'm assuming a white woman's hair grows fast. You know, so
especially Captain Marvel. Yeah,
right. You know, she got some powers. My thing is,
well, Bruce's hair got long too, by the way.
It did.
Yeah, that was weird. Just real quick though, why does everybody want Secret Wars to be like the next Avengers film? Like, where do you go after that? There aren't any other Avengers stories you can tell before Secret Wars before we get there. I think Secret Wars should be like one of the last.
Well, you got multiple ones, right? So you got Secret Invasion, which is where the Skrulls start coming in and impersonating people. Right. You know, impersonating the heroes, impersonating the Avengers or whoever. But Secret Wars, look, Secret Wars at the end of the day, both of them, because there were 2 different iterations of the comics, they're fan service. They are, you know, it's an event to kind of be like, here's your favorite heroes going against other heroes or your favorite villain. You got Magneto going against Dr. Doom. You got Spider-Man finally going against, you know, Wolverine. You know, like, that's all it is. It's fan service just to get different. And I think with this multiverse, there's just going to be like, yo, we're going to have all these variants of all these characters just fighting each other. And we're just going to run with it. Just look at it for the spectacle. I don't know if it's going to be that deep, but at the very least, I think that's what they go with Secret Wars and Secret Invasion, more of the Skrulls and espionage and stuff.
I do want to see a Civil War 2. I want to see a Masters of Masters of the Universe.
I mean, He-Man can come through if
that's not Masters of Evil. Masters of Evil.
Got to get the Illuminati.
Illuminati.
That right there can probably be one of their best moral dilemmas to put into the MCU. Yeah, because the biggest thing with the Illuminati, they had to figure out, all right, we know multiverses exist, but we're dealing with this Earth and our Earth, and we got to make a decision. If we don't make a decision, both Earths collide, the universes die.
Right.
Or we got to kill that other Earth with all their people, all their timeline, everything. What do we do?
Right.
That could be dope.
Well, guys, we have been going for a good hour and 45 minutes.
That's what Marvel does to you.
Yeah, man. This was a very lengthy spoilery review. Eman, Elliot, do y'all have any final thoughts before we head out of here about the film or the future of the MCU or Bob Chapek jacking up everything?
I guess my only question to you guys is, after this film, do you feel like Shang-Chi is the hype level of the character as we would have anticipated him to be? Do you feel like he's the master of martial arts after watching this film? Or do you feel like he's kind of the Doctor Strange going into the, you know, that type of level? He's not the Sorcerer Supreme quite yet, but we can see him getting to that level. Do you feel like there's still room for Shang-Chi to become the master of martial arts?
Definitely. He's not there yet, but I wasn't going into this film expecting him to be
top level.
I felt that we would kind of get a good taste of what he can do, but as the films progress, the MC progresses on, he's going to continue to level up. And so
I'm with you on that. I think that it's just like Doctor Strange, because he wasn't doing like the craziest things just because he got the cloak, you know, or whatever. It was kind of like, oh, I could reverse time like this, and okay, you know. So I think we're gonna get to that point. Like I said, the biggest indicator for me for Shang-Chi was how quickly he was able to learn an entirely new style. You know, I mean, yes, his mom taught him in the past, but he like found a way to blend the style his dad taught him, you know, for years, and his mom's style together. So to me, I'm like, oh, if you a quick learner like that, and you can maybe even tap into those semi-magic abilities, man, sky's the limit. So I think he's got a road to greatness.
And I forgot to mention this: the Death Dealer, the guy to the right. I follow him on YouTube. That's who he is in real life that played the role. He's part of this YouTube channel called the Marshall Club. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that, but they do skits and stuff. They even they got like 400K subs on YouTube, but they do a lot of comedic martial arts stuff. Some serious, but mostly kind of jokes. But all right, guys, so we've been here for quite a while. We finna head out, and I just want to give our ratings real quick. I think I'm gonna go last. Which one of y'all want to go first? If you don't,
Elliot already got his whole review.
Cool.
So
Elliot, 1 out of 10.
So I do mine out of 5. So if I were to switch it to that format, I think my grade on the film would have been a 7.5 out of 10 because I gave it a 3.8 out of 5 on mine. So 7.5 out of 10 for me for Shang-Chi. Great moments, but just not a great film altogether.
Gotcha.
I think I am very, very close. I haven't finalized it yet as of this recording, but I'm pretty sure I am gonna fall somewhere between 7.5 and an 8. I have to write everything out and see my thoughts on paper first, but it's somewhere right between 7.5 and an 8. I think the main thing I'm gonna kind of, hobble between is whether or not this has good rewatchability. That's gonna be the thing. That's gonna be my little half point.
Trevor.
I think
that's getting me closer to 7.5. It's getting me closer. But
you'll never see me coming.
I think it does have good rewatchability. I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably gonna always fast forward through the Trevor parts, just to be honest. But when I got to the car, when I did my reaction video, I was saying to myself, I think this is like a 7.5. But after thinking about it for a few days, and even talking about you guys, I think I'm gonna keep my rating the same as my non-spoiler review and have it at a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10. So I liked the film. It was a great film. I didn't love the film. Again, I had those high expectations, but sometimes you're going with high expectations, sometimes low. So me 7.5, Elliot 7.5, and Eman is still dancing between the 7.5 and the 8. So
quick question.
Yes, sir.
Is this the best Phase 4 project so far, and including movies? Obviously, one being Black Widow, but also the shows. Is this the best project of Phase 4 so far?
No. Black Widow is a more complete film to me. I enjoyed more things in Black Widow than I did in Shang-Chi. I mean, Shang-Chi was more of a film that I was more interested in Shang-Chi. But the only thing I didn't really care for in Black Widow was I wasn't in love with Taskmaster. I didn't hate him, but I wasn't in love with him. And then 2, just the whole base in the sky, with the Red Room. It was cool. Kind of a repeat of Hydra, but those are the only 2 things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. We just went through all the stuff that rubbed me the wrong way in Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
So I would say overall, I enjoy Black Widow more than this. It's kind of hard for me to compare. And WandaVision is up there, but I'm going with Black Widow right now.
Black Widow number 1.
I can't compare the series because the series, they had me. It's an unfair advantage, right? Like you have me week to week to week,
all that,
carrying me. So the more fair comparison would be between this and Black Widow, and I would give this the edge over Black Widow, not by a lot. Because I agree it's not a perfect film. But the main difference for me is the fact that this has deeper implications for the MCU compared to Black Widow. If Black Widow had given me just one thing that would be, this blew my mind. This gave me new information about the MCU that's going to affect things in multiple different ways, then okay, that'd be different. But it didn't. It stayed confined to telling a complete story for Natasha. But I'm like, for the larger scale of things, it didn't do anything. At least Shang-Chi did that with the 10 rings. It has the mystery. It has the rewatchability, because now I'm like, ooh, maybe I missed a clue, or maybe 5 years from now, when we watch some other movie, I'm going to have to go back and rewatch Shang-Chi and maybe have a new appreciation for it. I don't see that happening with Black Widow. So right now, I kind of got to give the edge to Shang-Chi.
I'm right there with you. And I think it's safe to say that out of the 3 big major martial arts films, Shang-Chi, Snake Eyes, and Mortal Kombat, is this the best martial arts film out of the 3?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat has the best fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But overall martial arts, Shang-Chi.
Yes, I agree with
And then
that.
Snake Eyes is like all the way down there at the bottom.
Yeah, man. That's.
I'm glad I didn't even bother with that one.
Oh, you ain't even seen it?
No.
Oh shit!
No, I don't care. No, that's the thing. I never cared. I never cared about Snake. Like I wanted to care, and then by the time it got close to seeing the movie, I was just like, I'm good. And then I saw the ratings and the critiques, and I was like, oh hell no, no. Not even gonna ruin my fantasy, my G.I. Joe childhood with this. Nope, not gonna happen.
I got you. But yeah, that will wrap up our full spoiler review for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And if you stayed this long, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe. You can follow Elliot and Eman again on social media, as well as myself. Our handles are on the screen. Everybody's information is down in the description box of this video. And again, you can check out their channels right here. There's Eman and movie files right there in the middle of the page. And again, guys, I just want to thank you all so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Bree Avery. That's Eman and Elliot. And that's just our opinion. Peace out. And we'll see you next time.